to the channel, guys. It is Saturday and I'm headed to the shop in the old daily. Anyway, thought I was gonna have to work today and I didn't have to work after all, so I'm headed to the shop. We'll work on the truck a little bit, see what we can get done today. Well, back to work. So this is where I left off the other day, guys. Got the torque converter out, showing off my nice dirty transmission. Don't know if my leak is going to be resolved yet, so I'm not going to spend too much time cleaning it. But by the way, I figured I'd go over some stuff that I've done to the truck. This right here, I converted it to AN style cooler lines, nylon braided AN hose. And that right there is a 40K cooler that I have mounted on my cross member. And I don't know if you guys will be able to see, but I have dual 9-inch fans on top of the cooler. I don't know if that's going to come up on video, but hopefully it does. And I wired them up. Basically, positive goes in one fan and negative comes out the other, and the two remaining positive and negatives are connected together. And that has them running at half speed, so each fan runs at 6 volts. And so it flows down the fan speed, and therefore it doesn't vibrate. I don't know. I've never had good luck with these small fans not vibrating, and I don't want all that vibration in the cab. So by doing that, I don't even notice that they're running, but it's sucking air through the whole cooler. So it does a pretty good job cooling the transmission. And there's the old flex plate. I do not see any cracks on the flex plate. It looks really good. Either way, I got an SFI approved one, so we're gonna get rid of this one. Alright, so first step is gonna be adding some oil to the torque converter before we go any further. As you can see, Pro Yank 3600 4L80 LS. Pretty cool. I'm gonna be running Dexron 6 oil. Yeah, I think I'm gonna need both hands for this. Now, one thing to remember, you need to try to get at least a quart in there, if not more. But a torque converter does not take oil very fast at all. As you can tell, it's not taking oil very fast. Yeah, I'm gonna keep working at this. Alright guys, so next step, while I'm waiting for the torque converter to take some more oil, take the flex plate off. So we'll get started on that. This is my dipstick tube. Now, it's always a good idea to Loctite the flex plate bolts. These had quite a bit of Loctite on them, so they were nice and tight. Seal looks perfect. Looks good back here. Alright guys, so we're gonna go ahead and get started on installing the torque converter. Got about as much oil as I could get into it, which is a little bit, about 1.25 quarters is what I got in there. We're gonna go ahead and get her installed in the transmission. Well, one thing I want to remind you guys of, always check the little O-ring on the shaft there. Make sure there's no damage and lube it up with some trans fluid before you install the new torque converter. Also want to lube this area as well with trans fluid. So it'll slide into the seal nicely. Looks like we spilled a little bit there. There you go, I felt it go in 3 clicks. I don't know if you guys seen it. She's seated all the way. Alright, so we are ready to install the flex plate. Remember, I actually got this thing from Summit Racing, SFI certified, for a pretty cheap deal. I believe it was somewhere in the 60s or 70s on the price. So we shall see how it holds up. Oh, they're nice and tight, that's for sure. I always like to line up the extra hole here with the hole in the crank. Pretty sure it's not a big deal if you don't, because these engines are not externally balanced. Also, got all the bolts right here. I already put Loctite on all of them, so they're ready to be installed. And these are the bolts from ICT Billet. Another thing I like to do is to make sure that flex plate is nice and round, same spacing all the way around. The easiest way to tell is to crank the engine over, but I can't do it without starter attached, at least not at any speed. So we're just gonna do some measurements right here, see if it stays the same all the way around. If you don't have the right stuff to measure with, one thing that always works is drill bits. Looks like that drill bit does not quite fit. One size smaller. Perfect. We'll crank it over every quarter turn and check it again. Okay. Okay. We're good. Now we'll go ahead and torque these. I'm pretty sure it's 85 foot-pounds of torque. All right, so this can be a challenge sometimes, trying to torque something, keep the engine from spinning over. However, you can actually use one of the holes in the flex plate and latch it up against something while you're tightening it, like so. Alright guys, so I was getting ready to install the transmission back into the truck after I got the flex plate done and everything. But then I remembered something that I had some doubts about, and I got thinking about it. Let me show you my problem. So I am set up, trying to shine this light so you guys can see good in the video, for a single drain. It is a big drain. However, I kind of doubt that it's enough for 2 turbos. I mean, it might be, but I hate taking the risk. So I think I'm gonna add a second drain over here. And I want to do that before I put the transmission in, because in case I need to pull the pan to get shavings out or something, I don't want to have to do that with the transmission attached. It'll be much easier at this point to just go ahead and lift the engine up out of there. So I just figured I'd give you guys an update on that. I'm gonna get to working on that, and we'll see how that ends up working out. All right, so after much thinking about it, I decided to do this instead, because I'm gonna see if it'll flow enough. If I have this Y here like this, 1 to each turbo, come down and flow into that. It's a pretty big fitting. This is a 7/8 inch hose, so flows a lot. Fitting is really high flow as well. So we're gonna try it with a single fitting, see what happens. It's gonna save me a lot of work, so we're gonna try it anyway. Maybe I'll regret it, maybe I won't. Won't know unless we try it. I guess what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and take the transmission lines off, and then we're gonna go ahead and move all this stuff out from under the truck, lower it down so I can pull the harness up out of the way, and then gonna install the transmission after that. Gotta make sure to keep this kind of stuff clean whenever you're taking the stuff off so you don't get dirt. In your fittings, you don't want that. And then there we go. Get these up and out of the way. Far enough. All right, guys, so we're gonna go ahead and start taking the harness off. We got lots of work to do here, so I don't know how much we'll do before we go back underneath on the transmission. But I kind of wanted to get all the wiring, make everything clean underneath there while we had the transmission out, make some things a little bit easier with moving wires around and stuff. So, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on this. At least get everything away from the back of the engine. If we don't take the whole harness off, then we'll jack this thing back up, get underneath there, finish installing the transmission, put it back down, and finish ripping off the wiring if we haven't finished. But that's the plan as of right now. So we will do a little bit of a high-speed video trying to get this done. All right, guys, so we got pretty much all the harness off of there. The rest of it goes underneath, runs over to the starter, and then the fuse box, which is pretty involved to take all that off yet. So we're gonna stop there and go back to putting the transmission on. All right, so we are ready to put the transmission back in. My brother's gonna be helping me. Gonna see how long it takes us.
20 minutes.
20 minutes. Getting ready to put the trans lines on and fittings for the wind. Jake's just about got the drive shaft mounted in, and currently I just need the torque converter bolts yet. Well, we've got her all buttoned up, got the lines on, drive shaft is installed, torque converter installed and bolted up. Still need to do the oil pan, do all the bolts and the filter and everything. So I'll probably do that and let it down. All right, so now that everything is bolted up and installed, I'm gonna pull the pan, clean the pan, put the new filter in, and put it all back together, and then we're ready to fill it up with oil. And this is my nephew Kyle. He's gonna be helping me out a little bit. Grab that end of the pan, just pick it up. Don't drop it though. All right, guys, we're just about done here for today. I got one more surprise for y'all. That's right, you got that turbo on there. Little test fitting, but we'll see how it goes.